Hey everybody, we're live on the SideQuest live, chatting all about video games on a weekly basis. Mostly every 7 days, sometimes 8 or 9 or 10, depending on schedules. It's been 10 days actually since the last time we recorded, which was the Summer Game Fest live drink along. But we're here. I'm Dolly Domofsky, one of your hosts. Joining me over this way is the _double_J, JJ.
JJ over here. Yes.
There he is. Also joining us because they're definitely here because they wanted the show to be on Sunday. Definitely they were going to make it because they couldn't make it Friday, so we got to do it Sunday.
Listen,
Sam, Zach, and Taylor.
Yeah. How you guys doing? It's great to hear. Listen, don't also. We also wanted you to take a break. It was ridiculous for you to come back from vacation and plop your ass in front of the computer. So don't try to throw shade at everybody else. We were also thinking about you.
You know, I was ready to freaking go on Friday. I was tired as hell, but I was ready to go, and all you guys are like, we're thinking about you, Dolly. You got a lot of shit to do because I had to DJ a wedding on Saturday.
Yeah. Just real fucking assholes we are. Yeah,
real fucking considerate assholes.
I've held up my end of the bargain. I said
you did.
Someday,
you did. You know what?
Here I am.
And for that, I'm giving you 1,000. I'm not. I'm not going to promise anything.
Thousands.
I'm going to give you 1,000.
Yeah. 1,000 side questing points.
1,000 side questing points go to JJ. It makes you the winner this week.
Yeah,
amazing.
It's like Whose Line Is Anyways, where the points don't matter.
I like that actually. We're going to start doing that. 1,000 side questing points. That might be the title of this episode. Okay, yeah. So it's going to be a fun episode, even if it's just the two of us.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty to go over this week. You've got a couple games that you're going to talk about, but before we get to that point, really let's get into all the crazy news that has been happening. And there has been a lot. It's the Summer Game Fest, my friend. It's the Xbox thingamabobber. It's whatever else is happening. And it's good. I'm going to queue up some of the news here because, like I said, there was plenty. We'll plow through some of the stuff that happened. We did the Summer Game Fest live thing, but we'll go through. Let's see. You didn't make it through the Summer Game Fest thing, did you?
I mean, I watched it. I listened to it at work, but because it was Thursday at like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Sure. Well, we'll get into what Taylor is here. I'm gonna put you up top here. Happy Father's Day, Taylor. You made it.
Happy Father's Day, buddy.
Yeah.
Sorry I'm late.
It's all right.
It's all right.
You are forgiven because you actually made it, though. But JJ being the first one here got 1,000 side questing points.
Yeah, so it's great.
You're already behind.
I'm ahead.
That's fine. JJ gets all of his predictions wrong, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Actually,
I got to make it up. I got to make them up where I can.
You know, it's funny. I will bring that up in a second. But we were just getting kicked off on talking about the Summer Game Fest happenings, all the stuff that sort of happened after Summer Game Fest. The major one being the Xbox and Bethesda event. And I'm just gonna share my screen here. There was a lot of shit that came out of that event, and
a
few things that we could talk about. But let's start here with the Redfall. You guys interested in talking about Redfall?
No.
Redfall.
I mean Redfall looks fine.
Yeah, it looks fine.
I feel like we've talked about Redfall enough, and there's not a whole lot of new that they showed off, just more. So
we talked about Redfall once, and that was enough. Which is shit! Sam Dixon made it.
What's up, friends?
Holy crap! My God! Oh, four of us are here now.
Fuck that. Okay, Quest guy. I hate him.
Wow, what I missed, such vitriol.
We just giving you a heads up. we gave 1,000 side questing points to JJ to make him the winner because he was the first one on the episode. So we're gonna start keeping track of points every week, and the winner gets all of our love or something. We'll think of that.
Sam gets 2,000 points for showing up last. So
that's a great idea.
Yeah, hey, well, some of us
Zach shows up.
Some of us worked for 12 hours today and then got home and hadn't seen their significant others all weekend, so thought they talked with them for a little bit before, immediately jumping into more work. But that's cool. That's cool, everybody.
Very smart.
So glad that's not you.
Your first mistake is considering any of this work.
Correct. This is just friends
are you
hanging
not
out.
Getting paid to be friends with Dally? I've been receiving monthly checks since like 2014.
The stipend.
I'm so goddamn charming that he doesn't have to pay me. He's just happy for me to be here.
Yeah, JJ pays me actually. No, we just started talking about the Xbox Bethesda event. We're gonna kick things off there. Redfall's a thing, guys. We talked about it exactly one time before this, and I think that was last year during the Xbox Bethesda event. And here it is again. I know they showed the trailer, and this is an Arcane game, I think, right?
Sure.
Cool. Hey,
I'll play it.
I'll play it. It'll be on Game Pass, so I'll play it. This is gonna be one of the interesting. I will say this. This may be one of those games that doesn't sell very well.
This is a Game Pass game. This is
a Game Pass game where it's like I'll play it on Game Pass. I am not gonna now. Other games like Starfield, which we'll get into, those games I may actually consider purchasing because I want to have the cool swag, collector's edition, disc, yada yada yada. But Redfall, I think that sucker is gonna be on my hard drive for taking up a little bit of space until the next thing shows up on Game Pass, and then it won't be on my hard drive anymore.
Once I need 72 gigabytes for something, Redfall's going away.
With Redfall, if you use the word Arcane or Dishonored anywhere in the sentence of what this game is or who develops it, I am very interested.
Yes.
And I we haven't seen too much, and I think that first sort of like cinematic trailer they showed, I mean, leads you to believe that they've got cooler powers and stuff than what they've showed, because right now they've showed a glorified shield and somebody that's basically a WoW hunter that has.
This game, just like between everything that we've seen so far, it feels very strongly to me of good showing and less interesting game to me.
Yeah.
That's just the impression that I get from it.
Being told that I can play the entire thing single player and not feel like I've missed out on the experience also helps gauge my interest in it. So I mean,
Very true.
I don't know if I'm looking out there to buy like a physical copy if it is on Games Pass. But I could be suckered into a collector's edition given the right stuff.
Moving on, the Silk Song is arriving on Game Pass day one, which is cool.
Hell yeah.
That's a big pickup. I felt
it is. Yeah. It's a big pickup. Whatever day one is, it's in the next 12 months is all we know.
Yeah,
supposedly
based on the messaging of this particular Summer Games Jam Fest.
Whatever. Yeah. But that's basically it. Silk Song is coming. I think they showed another trailer, but that's all. That's it. It's coming to Game Pass day one.
The trailer was just like, this sure looks like Hollow Knight. I don't know.
Yeah. Here's more of it. I don't get Hollow Knight does nothing for me. But I know a lot of people love it. So whatever. Silk Song, people are interested in it, and I'm not gonna be upset that people are. So that's good news. Good news. Yeah. Again, anything on Game Pass, I think getting it out there is a win for sure. Something else coming to Game Pass, Riot Games. The more I thought about this, the bigger it became in my head.
This is kind of fucking ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah. Just like, hey guys, here's like the fucking heroes for League of Legends. Like, here it is. You have Game Pass. You have these legends that we lock behind a paywall. Here you go. Enjoy. Mazel tov. Like, it's wild. I don't know. It feels.
I saw some people chatting about it. Yeah. I don't know what the dollar amount is. I'm sure that's out there too. Yeah. but just, casually, I saw people talking about like 1,100 to 1,500 hours of playing League to unlock all of the characters.
Yeah, it unfortunately comes about 10 years too late for my League of Legends play time, but I mean, how they have like over 130 characters or something like that, and I think like the Champions pack, at least back in the day when I played, gave you like maybe 12 or 14 of them.
Yeah.
It's 640 right now. It's about $641 to buy every champion in League of Legends. So if you're a League of Legends stan, you definitely want to get Game Pass because it's a hell of a lot cheaper than spending $641.
This is also them cashing in on good timing too, because a lot of people have gotten interested in the League of Legends universe because of the show,
because Arcane,
and like this is actually sort of cashing in a timely manner, unlike most of the things where they cash in like a year or two too late, like especially.
Am I wrong? Is Wild Rift not supposed to come to consoles at some point? I thought the whole point of that was a console and a mobile version of League of Legends. And I thought they were going to do a beta for consoles this summer, and I've just never heard anything about it.
It's coming to Game Pass.
It's coming to Game Pass for PC and mobile.
Yeah, and that's what confused me, is because they just didn't mention anything about Wild Rift potentially coming to consoles. And you would think that, that Wild Rift stuff would cross over if
it's
Xbox
coming to Switch. I thought, like, isn't it coming to Switch at some point? I think that was.
I swear that it was like all major consoles and mobile was the whole point, that Wild Rift, and also to get out there in front of like all those other handheld League of Legends ripoffs.
Yeah, I mean the last they talked about it, I think, was like Marchish. And that they won't have any major updates to that before next year. So, in terms of the Wild Rift on consoles.
Okay. All right.
And the total number of current champions is 160.
There you go.
Which is quite the number.
I think, anyways, it's absolutely a great thing, because that's just League of Legends. You're $641. I mean, you open up the Valorant stuff, the Legends, team fight, it really becomes a big save, and it's a great way to get people into playing.
I mean, this is the biggest thing, is that you want to create captive audience, and Riot is probably doing the numbers, and it's like, hey, it's getting harder, and if you pull people in, you let people play whatever they want. And then all of a sudden, now the consumer has two choices if they get hooked on the game. Do you keep paying for Game Pass to have all of them, or do they fall off of Game Pass and just give Riot the money directly to keep playing that champion that they unlocked and now like to play, and will lose if they don't give money to somebody? That's a big one.
Massive, definitely. Next one, I'm literally going through this. Forza. This is the Sam and Dolly portion of the show.
Hey.
Actually, you too as well. That's true. I'm sorry. You're a car guy. I forgot you buy as many car games as I do, if not more sometimes.
You guys just let me know when we've moved on.
Yeah, all right.
Sorry. This is the extremely niche, one of the highest selling, market products, but it also.
I never said extremely niche.
You said niche. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's Forza's a massive game. This is sort of the reboot of Forza Motorsport, since it's unnumbered. But
it's one of those things where, as much as I love the Horizon games, sometimes I just want menus.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it comes to racing, I just want to click some menus and then get into a race. I don't want to have to fast travel across a map or something to get to a race. They both hold a specific part of my enjoyment in racing games. They both fill a different part of the genre for me, but my favorite thing is just sim racing. I just want to plug into some menus. I want to tune my car up. I want to qualify, and I want to go.
What's really cool about Forza, I'm glad they have split Horizon and Motorsport, but Motorsport, it's a sim game because you can tune to all heck and get all, every detail, every millimeter about each car. At the same time, the social gaming aspect of it, I think, is still pretty freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, and it does a lot to, like, with Drivatars in this scenario. I think Drivatars are way cooler in motorsport than Horizon, because it sort of creates a sort of like asynchronous multiplayer with your friends for like when you're for like league racing. It's pretty cool. In Horizon, it mostly feels like you're just trying to dodge them while getting to another track.
Right.
But I just, it's also, it's super friendly as a sim, because you really can just like, because, they know that they're a more casual sim. So like they still have the rewind features and the sort of like auto tune, and it's like, oh, you just want it to be a B-class car, then just click this and we'll just install the parts and tune them how you like it. Or you can just go in and do the minute things. You can make it Gran Turismo, but you can also just make it an arcade racer if you really felt like it.
The Forza Motorsport series, stuff is accessible as you want it to be, but you can make it harder. Exactly, just what JJ was just saying. The Forza series. So I work in the auto industry full time, right? And car guys are not really gamers, especially dudes who are in their 50s and late 50s, early 60s. Are not gamers. When Forza was announced years ago, when it kind of launched on the 360, I know my studio picked up a bunch of Xbox 360s and a bunch of copies of Forza and a bunch of car seats.
Was 2 the first one on the 360? I think it was Forza 2, right? Yeah, because
Forza 3, yeah. Either way, it was definitely, the social aspect of it got all these, old white dudes to want to play video games on an Xbox and get Xbox Live. And it's, I befriended all of them, and all of a sudden I saw them like dabbling in Halo, dabbling in some of those other bigger games. And now a lot of those guys play games religiously because they got into it through Forza. So I freaking love I love the way Forza handles and feels more so than Gran Turismo. This to me is the perfect sim-ish racing experience on consoles. Yeah. Cool. That's Forza. Love it. Let's go to the next one, which would be, let's go to page 2 here.
I just want to say, as the hyper specific thing about Forza while you're looking, 2 things stuck out to me during that that sort of reveal. One of them is that they're doing ray tracing on track. Now that might be creative wording.
That's pretty massive.
Because technically Gran Turismo does ray tracing on track during replays.
Yes, only replays.
You could play the wording game on that. But more interesting, I think, to me, is they talked about redoing the physics engine for the game, especially because Horizon redid the braking model, which, was kind of strange for the arcade one to go out of its way to do that. And I never thought the braking model was necessarily bad in the Horizon series or in the Forza series until I went back and played. I want to say it was not 7. It was the other PC one. I think they called it Forza Apex.
Yes,
I played some of that, and braking is completely different in consideration of like ABS and like actually locking tires. And it'll be interesting to see in their sim because it is kind of a light sim. But now if you're going to start doing brakes more accurately, how are we going to talk about like tire deg actually feeling more responsive and more realistic than it has in the Forza games before? And also to your point about Gran Turismo, that series has always felt like stiff and kind of snooty in comparison. And some of that's like, it's just cars. So, there's aspects of that. It's more Goodwood Festival than it is like Nitro Rally out there in the backyard.
Gran Turismo has absolutely zero personality to it. Like that's the thing about Gran Turismo.
That could be,
Yeah, that thing is like like somebody's like essay on cars. And Forza's always felt like, you and your buds going out and getting a few beers and doing donuts out in the backyard.
Because like with the Forza Vista stuff, like at that one point they had like the Top Gear. I always forget his name now. Jeremy Clarkson, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Had him like talking about the cars as he wandered around them. In like Forza Motorsport 3 or something. Like it was really just like a celebration.
The one where they had
like,
Connect into it. Remember that one? And that was actually kind of badass. I gotta say,
it worked. It surprisingly worked. Not well, but worked.
Yeah. Forza. Minecraft Legends, which I go strangely excited about.
This game looks cool. I don't give a shit about Minecraft too much, but this game looks
I don't
cool.
care about original old school Minecraft at all. But I like what is it? Minecraft what's the Dungeons? I like Dungeons. I think that's a blast. And this looks cool to me from a sort of action real-time strategy game. I think is a really neat idea.
Yeah. It's fun having them give Minecraft personality.
Yeah.
And not have you personally injecting the personality in it. So it's I like it.
Yes, I completely agree, and it's good to see them really pushing the IP. I'm waiting for Minecraft Kart to show up, which is on the way.
Yeah.
I
love seeing. I love what they've done with Minecraft in recent years, where they've got like RTX Minecraft and stuff, where they're just like going through the map, and there's like God rays in a fucking Minecraft game. It's
yeah, this is coming 2023, I believe.
Within the next 12 months.
Within the next 12 months to every platform out there. So yeah, cool. Give me more cool Minecraft ideas like this because they're easily digestible and I think it's good. And then obviously, real big news: the Persona series.
The big one.
The big one, yeah.
Oh, look at! I wrote the Persona finally series arrives on. Oh,
nice,
I just now see that.
All right, Grandpa.
Grandpa, yeah, over here. Anyways, the Persona series finally arrives on Xbox.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you were just so excited that the words got a little jumbled.
It might have been. Yeah, I wrote. Thought it was there already. Now it is. I really did think that, like, at least P5 was on an Xbox or something was on Xbox, but it wasn't. It's cool to get these games on it. They are also coming. P3 and P4 are coming to PlayStation platforms.
Yeah.
The other rumor is they'll show up on Nintendo as well. But they're basically it's coming to everything right now. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it. Don't say it. No, it's coming to everything, which is I think it's a great. A real good thing for Persona, and then that is very true. It was like 1,000 things I was writing all at once. Yeah.
I'm glad that Persona 3 is like Persona 3 was like my first introduction into the Persona. Like
it was most people. It was most people's.
Yeah. Like because I had the PS2 vanilla version of Persona 3. And then got FES, and now it's been kind of a pain in the ass to play Persona 3 unless you have old hardware. And even if you have old hardware, it's kind of still a pain in the ass to get a hold of Persona 3. So
yeah, most recently it was either I don't know if you could get it working on a PS4 because it was working on Vita.
Yeah,
because the Vita was natively running a bunch of PSP games, so it was running P3P.
Yeah,
but I'm just glad that I held out long enough that Royal came to a console, so I didn't have to buy 2 versions of Persona 5 because I have it. I bought it on PS4, never beat it. It came free on PS4, not the Royal version.
Yeah,
and I was like, man, I can't do it. I can't buy the Royal version before I even beat the first version, and now I don't have to. Came to me.
No, it's a cool reveal.
I think it's a big deal for Atlas in general, because Atlas was one of those studios, or one studio and also sometimes publisher that just like kept stuff siloed for weird reasons, like Strikers branching out, but not Persona proper. How many hours is added? I have no
think it's
idea.
like 20 extra hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it was like 20 to 30 hours extra on it or something. Yeah.
It's an entire ass game.
Which is crazy.
Dog.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. Which is more than I can get into.
Whole new character and everything. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
It is sort of wild that Royal is coming in October, and then there's no dates on 4 and 3. And it seems like we're going to get 4 first, and then 3 second at an even later date.
4
apparently
can't take
within
that
the next 12 months, but.
Oh, I mean, I guess we're talking about Xbox. I mean, but the only thing I give a shit about is PC. But the
Persona 4 PC as well. Yeah.
Well, Persona 4 is already on Steam and it has been for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So that one shouldn't take that much work.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Next one there. Obviously, we saw that Starfield gameplay, which looked like a Bethesda. It looked like a Fallout in space.
It was Fallout in space to me, 110%. It was Fallout.
Yep.
Fallout,
which I'm totally fine. I do love me some Fallout. The only thing, I mean, I actually like what do they call it? No Man's Sky Rim. People were kind of calling it that a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of, but not really. I did sort of hesitate a little bit when they said guess what? There's 1,000 planets and you can land anywhere on every single one of these.
It was a classic like expo hype talk, and then you're like, but then you think about like what you want this game to be. I'm like, I don't want 1,000 planets.
And what's funny is because you could probably guess that out of those 1,000, 975 are probably just rocks where you're mining whatever randomly generated little stuff is on there.
It's how many planets will I see? The answer is how many planets do I have to visit on the main quest line? I guess
exactly.
It's funny because the further it went in the presentation, the like less interested I became in Starfield. Like the only piece of that I was like, oh, that'll be fun to me at least was the sort of like ship customization stuff, and that they're going to have like actual like ship combat. Although, they're like, we have so many solar systems and stuff. Like, it feels like that flying stuff is going to be restricted to, like, very specific points in time. Because I don't think they want you flying from, like, one edge of the galaxy to another and be like, well, I just played 6 hours of, a flight sim where I held the stick forward. It's, comparing it to Fallout, like, is a huge negative to me. I've never... I guess I'm contrarian because I've never really enjoyed anything that Bethesda has put out, like, or has like any of like, I do not like Elder Scrolls. I did not like Skyrim. I don't like the Fallout series. And, I'm interested in space. I gave No Man's Sky a try and it was like so unfocused that, and even now there's so much you can do in No Man's Sky that it just feels like I don't know what I want to do. There's, I want to do this, but then it seems like, okay, well, you've got to build up in this tree and it's like, you've got to commit 10 hours until you're ready to do this.
I think, but like at the same time, at least No Man's Sky sort of understands that it has no focus. Like it's just whatever you want the game to be. Like I was about to call this Skyfall and I have no idea why. Starfield is definitely gonna will be up in its own ass about its story.
Yeah.
Like if you look at what Stefan just said here with the developer doesn't mind you spending hours reading books or doing alchemy though, which is true. This game wants you to like just waste your time on a planet learning this planet's history. Like full well that's what's going to be. It's
and that
all the lore of this planet.
And that seems to is a great feature of these types of like open world games and stuff like that. But then it comes back to like, well, what am I focused on doing? Like, what's dragging me through this? And we're watching the gameplay right now, and like this person, like I can't hear the audio, but what I think happened in this demo is like, he was supposed to like meet with somebody or something when he landed on this planet. And they're showing you about like 60 activities that you can do on your way to talking to that person. And I don't care about any of them. I want to go talk to that guy. Yeah. I want to know what's up. And then I want to go do whatever he wants me to do. Right. Like, I don't want to sit there and scan all the fauna on this planet on the off chance that like now I can make like my left glove just a little bit stronger or something like that. That's never really appealed to me. And it feels like telling me there's 1,000 planets, telling me there's 1,000 different directions that this game is going to pull me. And I'm only going to be interested in 2 of them. But they're going to keep dangling the carrots and calling me stupid for not checking out those carrots the whole time.
Also, the bringing back the kind of binary factions that they used in some of the Fallout stuff, I also don't like.
Yeah,
I've never been a big fan.
How many of those planets are immediately offline to me because I pissed off the Crimson Raiders or whatever they're called?
Now there's now a giant space blockade.
Is the Crimson Raiders the Star Wars gang? Is that what's the Star Wars gang?
No, you know they're bad because they refer to blood, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
This isn't the Assassin's Guild. This is the very bad guys' place.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Right.
Can't wait.
Can I destroy an entire planet? That's what, if I can.
Oh god, that would be badass.
If I can make my ship the Death Star and I can glass 300 of those 1,000 planets, I'm back on board.
Yeah. Okay, I guess we're all done with Starfield.
I'm writing down. I'm writing down. Can I destroy an entire planet?
Yeah, I mean, but if that ends up being the extent of I'm gonna be the bad guy in this video game, then yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I'm also taking bets on what the fuck that icon in the bottom left means during exploration.
Oh, I won't do it. I won't bet on it. There's no way. There's no way.
Is that Is that like the phase of the day? Like
it certainly looks like it. It looks like
it looked like a compass. Hold on, Dally, go back.
Like
go
back. Enhance.
Go back,
McPig. Enhance.
Yeah. What is going on with this?
What is that?
No, like because in motion, as he turned, there's a little dial. See. There's the white dot.
Does that say CO2? Is that his oxygen? Like, are we
O2 CO2?
Yeah, but that exact photo is on my lunar state calendar, right? That's a waxing or waning moon. You just got to tell me which way we're going.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm so confused by.
No, sorry. So all right, no. Click play and watch that little white dot, bottom left corner. See how it's wiggling as he turns?
But what's that in the middle?
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
So that's your goal. That's what you gotta get to.
We don't ask about the moon, okay?
We don't talk about the moono.
Oh wait, listen. We have just somebody has just commented that it's the phases of the moon in the middle. But why do I care about the phase of the moon on one?
I told you we don't ask about the phases of the moon, Sam.
Is it gonna be like what was the Chronicles of Riddick, where you're gonna have to outrun the sun at some point?
Also, if I can't GTA steal a Crimson Raider ship and just forget about mine on a planet, what's the point?
Can this game somehow interact with Mass Effect in some way? Can they be like a shared universe? And
I would love
in your fucking dreams.
Surprise! Starfield is
New Atlantis. Why is it New Atlantis? Why does this planet know about Atlantis?
And
you're gonna have to play the game to find out.
Yeah.
And do they know what happened to Atlantis?
Yeah, it's like calling your ship the Titanic 2. Nothing good can come out.
Oh wait. There it is. Is that the phase thing on his wrist there? Let's see it again. Hold on.
I don't want to wear a smart. I got to pay attention to a smartwatch.
You got to watch a smartwatch in the year 28. Maybe I don't know.
Well, Ed 209 harasses me. Great. Yeah, that's what we need.
Hey, Kojima. Jeff Grubb was right again. There's a very sleepy-looking Kojima who's teaming up with Xbox Game Studios. That's all we know.
I love that segment because this screenshot is all the segment is, and
that's all you need to know.
And it probably dominated the entire news cycle. It's just like
Does that imply though that his game's coming out in the next 12 months?
Yes.
So this is what I was
theoretically, because that was the whole point of this show is that it's 12 everything in the next year.
This is the thing that struck me too, Sam, was because like what game? Anything that's coming out in the next 12 months has to be showable by now.
Right. Yeah, that completely.
Like
Maybe it's an app. Maybe it's the abandoned app. It's
Well,
just now
everybody
Oh my
does
God.
those like every 3 month like mini shows at this point.
Yeah.
So like a Kojima game, the announcement's a big
Remember-
enough pop of a Kojima thing that like use the announcement now. In 4 to 5 months, that's when you show like the screenshot of the dude peeing or something, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, genius!" And then 6 months from then, they show 30 seconds worth of video of a character walking up steps, and you're like, oh my God, he's an icon. And then the game comes out and everybody cries while they play it. So I don't know.
I mean, he was kind of compared to previous like Metal Gear Solid 5 or something, he was kind of ruthlessly efficient with Death Stranding. Like, it didn't really suffer that much, but we also didn't see anything of it for a significant amount of time. Like, it was always the same cutscenes. So it's like, okay, there's the oil baby, there's Norman Reedus, that's clearly a pregnant Norman Reedus, there's stuff in the sky, and that was just sort of the messaging for like 8 months for that game, and then they finally showed what the game was, and then the game was out in like 2 months after that. Like, it was just
weird shit.
Yeah, and we also don't know like how big of an experience this is, right? Like, it's literally the only thing we know is it's taking advantage of the cloud. This could be what was that mobile game, Pikmin Go or whatever? This could be Kojima's Pikmin Go for all we know, and could be out next week. Probably won't, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. What is also not coming out next week is Diablo 4, but it is coming to consoles alongside PC. That's a thing.
I mean,
there you go.
That should not be a surprise after the success that they had with Diablo 3 on consoles.
Diablo 3, and then the remastered 1 remastered, I think, was also really 2 was remastered. Didn't 1 come out as well on?
No.
Okay. Well, anyways, they've had success with Diablo on.
They did
on consoles, so it's come out.
And I will say, I wonder how much they obviously this was pre-planned to have this come out for the Xbox showcase. I wonder how much they're like, how tight can we squeeze in Diablo Immortal that we know is going to have bad press on it? Because of the way that it is, and also Diablo 4 announcement stuff to diffuse it. Because I had a couple people that were just saying out loud of like, I don't know, timing seems suspicious. Diablo 4, all of a sudden we're dropping Diablo 4 news, and you're like, all right, listen. I mean, nobody has the luxury of being able to suddenly do this kind of thing. Which might just mean that they had the good foresight.
Yeah, there is a department that is paid millions of dollars to figure out the marketing side of these things. So yeah, absolutely, this Diablo 4 thing wasn't just slipped in at the last minute. So
no.
Yeah, if anything, I think the reactions of people afterwards is, oh, cool, Diablo 4. How much are you squeezing money out of me for?
Yeah,
like if anything, like I don't think this helped the sort of case of Immortals. I think it hurt Diablo 4 in the future. And I think, going forward, especially until release, you're going to hear a lot about how there's no monetization in it. Everything's going to be achievable in game. We're not going to try to do a player run auction house again or anything like that. Hell, they might even like try not to even put an auction house in it, just to make, to seem like there's some level of transaction that could be, even if it's completely currency that you can only earn in game and you can't pay for it and stuff like that. I think any of that information just goes by the wayside until like maybe right before release, or if Immortal somehow turns the corner of not costing people like $100,000 to get a max level character.
Isn't it kind of nuts that in some ways Diablo 3 ran the first like game-based cryptocurrency? When you really think about it, with the real money auction house.
Yeah,
I mean,
because it's Diablo, it's about death, cryptocurrency.
Sell me your Diablo NFT, bro.
Yeah. Coming up next, hot is, I want to scoot up here real quick. Their big first party release this year is Pentiment. an Obsidian game, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to this.
No, I'm all in on it. This is my kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
I think I missed the clip for this when it was going on, because I was in the car when this was going on, so I didn't quite catch everything.
It is a 1400 murder mystery.
One of the games I'm going to talk about, you will see a lot of similarities.
There you go. Yeah. It's a really weird. It feels like a like Microsoft was like, "Hey, shit! Anybody got like literally like six, seven folks available to pump something out to be available this year? We need something. Hey, you guys! Oh, Obsidian, you got a few folks available. All right, make us a game. That's going to be our big release for 2022. Our only first party release for 2022 is Pentiment. But here we go. No, it looks cool. I'm into the whole murder mystery idea with this artist dude. I forget whatever his name is, but I think there's some really sort of interesting. I love the art style takes that sort of that wood carving aspect and the storybook aspect to it. It's Obsidian, and they've got great storytelling. They got great writers over there. Yeah. So you get fistifucks.
Fistifucks,
but fistifucks.
That's
the wrong Pentiment.
I think I've downloaded that movie. Man, but yeah, just sign me up for weird period piece adventures, murder mystery. Same. Yeah, fucking hell yeah. Obsidian, makers of the only good Fallout game.
There you go. If you told us like, hey dudes, Obsidian, the folks that made Fallout New Vegas, are pumping out a surprise game this year that people didn't expect, but they're definitely going to want. You would think, oh, New Vegas remake or whatever the Fallout 4 version. No,
South Park 3.
South Park 3. And then that was kind of it for the big stuff from Xbox. However, let me go back to the homepage here.
A lot of other like
big one.
Bullshit.
Yeah, there's another big one that took place. And there are a couple good games actually. The Cocoon.
Hey man, that really Cocoon article fucking whips ass,
doesn't it? Thank you. You can see our boy right here, Wilford Brimley.
Rest in peace.
Like it's just an entire article based on like one joke for like one person,
and it's for you. It was literally a joke for you, JJ.
For me.
And then at the end, I'm like, oh shit, it's not about the movie. But the game still looks kind of badass because you're essentially going layers and layers and layers and bouncing in between worlds, almost like you do something in one world and it opens up something in another world, or the ability to do something in a different world. And it's such an interesting idea, and the aesthetic, which has a little bit of that Monument Valley feel to it. But I'm totally digging this game. I think it just looks badass. It's just so cool looking, and as a concept, I love this sort of the idea of hopping in between spaces to solve problems like this, solve puzzles. It's just cool. And look at that. And now watch. I'm gonna hop into this world because I just built up that world, and there you go. Bam. Oh, cool. And that's a cool looking effect. He's gonna go through there. It's just neat. It's just really cool.
Sign me up. All in. Give me.
Sign me up. The Benedict Fox. That was the one I wanted to look at. The Last Case of Benedict Fox. Another really cool game.
We're back in this weird era of side-scrolling point and click adventures, and all right, there's a new Monkey Island coming. This looks like this is in my wheelhouse. Like a Metroid style side.
By the way, I thought this was going to be like a 1920s car racing game, and I thought, oh, that's actually kind of like a buggy. That actually sounds like a badass. Oh no, it's not. But part of me was like, man, that would be a really cool game. You're just racing cars around towns.
You throw in some cosmic horror into anything, and I'm a little
some definite Lovecraft cosmic horror. Yeah, supernatural side of things here. Yeah, it's very much flashback.
Yeah.
You know,
I wasn't here,
another
and it was very funny when you said JJ knows what this is.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's very much like flashback with kind of a different setting, but I really love that idea. This whole cinematic storytelling,
world,
platforming,
flashback,
another world, out of this world. But yeah, I think it's great. And I'm looking forward to it. Bring it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Look at that stuff. It looks badass.
It's got
your dad's out there, and you got to figure out why. Well, in this game, you're bound to a demon, apparently, as the story goes, and that lets you not only hop between worlds and stuff, but actually talk to the undead and solve issues. Yeah. So cool.
Clearly, its soul is sort of designed to be like, let's make Benedict Fox a thing.
Yes. Here we go. Crisis Core. This is the other big news that dropped was the Squeenix stuff. And I love this view too. This it's just like orgasmic, ecstatic.
Where do you find these screenshots?
It's funny because like I'm looking for a screen. Like I'll be watching the stuff, and I'm like, oh, and in this case, I was in a seafood restaurant in Florida, and I thought, oh crap, I've got to get while I'm watching this video. I'm like, I've got to get this written up. So as I was started to type up the blog post, this video stops and it goes into then they released a 4K version.
Yeah.
So I hop in the 4K version and I literally just scrubbed to the first part that's legible. And so this is a screen capture on my phone as I'm like just quickly screen capture. It's just perfect.
Post nut clarity Zach over here.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Reunion. It is a remaster in much of the same way that they did 7 and 8 and 9 and I think some of those other games.
The very flat texture of the clover that he's laying on.
Not a remake, but is it coming this year? It said this winter. Now, granted, they did redo cinematics here.
Yeah.
So that's something that
that's what they used to always do too. Like when you would buy like the Final Fantasy collections for the PlayStation 1 or whatever, it's always like, and now with cutscenes, like, animated, like new intro, like, so yeah, sure.
So this was the PSP game. Speaking of PSP games coming back, this is a PSP game, but you can see they definitely did redo, they did redo a lot of the background stuff too. So it's more than just the character. They obviously look, Behemoth did not look that good in the actual game.
This was one of those games that was never available digitally. So if you had a PSP Go like I did, so if you never got to play Crisis Core, because
but now it's coming everything this year. I'm gonna get it. I think it's a great thing to be leading into all the other Final Fantasy VII stuff that's going on. But yeah, I mean, they've updated the visuals for the user interface, the graphical stuff, and it does look like they've redone tons. Like, look at this. They've redone tons of the enemies, the characters, the textures. They did a lot of work to this thing. It's definitely more than just a simple, up-res type of thing. They're definitely putting some hard work, because even you can see some glistening in the veins here for that dude. So yeah, anyway, sign me up. Crisis Core Reunion. It's back this year and on everything. And then of course, they announced the second part. Part 2 is called Rebirth, and also, by the way, it is a trilogy, as we've all thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Here. I don't know why they didn't just lead with it.
With the Rebirth, I think because they wanted to build the hype.
No.
Oh, that it was going to be a trilogy.
The fact that it was going to be because it was just so obvious with the pacing.
Yeah.
After the first game came out.
Yeah. It's weird because I even remember them saying at one point they weren't sure how many games it was going to be.
Yeah.
But everybody knew it was going to be at least 2, probably 3. So
it's super wild still to me that they just call the first game Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's a really bold name. There's no subtitle other than remake. So
maybe they'll relabel them like they did with Star Wars after the third one.
Final Fantasy VII, maybe it'll be New Hope.
Yeah, so Final Fantasy VII Remake, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and now we know the last one's going to be Final Fantasy VII Relabel. I think that's good. But no, yeah, hey, they got your boy Zach in this. Look at this, dude. Memories. But supposedly arriving, like Final Fantasy 16 is summer of 2023. They didn't really give a date for this, did they? They just kind of said, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry, next winter." They did give a date, next winter, which
means February 2024.
February of 2024, which would probably be it would. Let's see, it would be 5 years after 4 to 5 years after the first one came out. So there you go. Yeah, there you go. Final Fantasy VII Part 2. Again, so far only on PS5. I'm sure it'll come to PC at some point.
Yeah, just like 7.
Just like 7.
7 just hit Steam. So,
yep. That day.
Like,
I will continue my game of patiently waiting.
And it's cool. Like they were talking about it. Like they were saying like this. Like they're not really being cagey about the messaging of 2 here, where they're saying like, this game is going to be a new experience for people that have played Final Fantasy VII. And they also said that 2 could actually be a good like starting point for people that have never played it before, which is a weird thing.
Cool idea.
Like, so
what?
Because it's not going to if you didn't play 7, so based on how things are going, there's kind of very little chance that Part 2 can be Disc 2 of Final Fantasy VII. It's a completely different game now, so it has to be. So it's just reintroducing this world to everyone. It's a whole new game, so you can kind of just jump into it as long as you just kind of vaguely understand who these characters are.
I'm very interested to see how many PS5s are available and what the when this comes out, what the attach rate will be for this. Because when
I definitely had 2 or 3 friends that bought a PlayStation 5 specifically when Final Fantasy VII Remake came out. It was insane.
Yes. Yeah. Anyways, Final Fantasy VII Part 2 Rebirth.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And then really
all right, well,
no.
He closed the whole browser window instead of just closing the YouTube video.
I did it again, didn't I? Yeah. Anyways, really, as I was saying, the last bit of news that I always, I'm old, right, guys? I'm old. Yeah. Is that taking place literally at the same exact time? Capcom said, "Let's do the let's do the Dragon's Dogma 2 announcement." By the way, Stefan says, "Do you think this game will be delayed?"
I don't think
Final Fantasy VII. No.
They say next winter, and I believe that because it's not necessarily like they're making Final Fantasy VII Remake again. Like it's like I feel like
I mean you now have the engine in place. You have the platform in place. You have a team that has worked with all of those tools to make the game. It's it has literally probably been in development. I don't even want to say since the first part of 7 Remake came out. It was probably like people were already working on Part 2 while the cleanup team was finishing Part 1. So
and they actually just announced that Part 3 is underway.
I mean, like I said, that they're in all stages on that one. So I've got high hopes that hits its timing.
Yeah.
He says like FF13, Part 2.
Yeah. I mean, very similar.
3 came out really quick after Part 2 of that too.
Yeah.
So, but there you go. Dragon's Dogma 2.
They did not announce during the Capcom event. They announced at a separate event.
Exactly. They announced during the Capcom event. They said tune in to yet another event.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know. I feel like the Dragon's Dogma came out at a time where like I was really playing video games.
Yeah.
And I don't think it had that big of an impact.
This is definitely people looking in the rearview mirror and hyping something up that was not beloved back then. Dragon's Dogma was kind of the early.
It was
It's
like
a version of a Souls game that's not a Souls game type of thing. But it was. It came out like Elder Scrolls time, somewhere around there, or whatever.
I think like a lot of us here are a little more attuned to it because it was a big hit with the joystick people.
I think so.
That was sort of the thing. So it's like we're a little more in tune with the Dragon's Dogma sort of cult status because
but even then, like even with that in consideration, like it does not.
The fact that it's sort
of it just does not seem like the kind of thing where I'm like, it needs its own showcase to
Well, it's funny because when they started talking about it at Capcom's like event, I was like, oh, so we're getting like the announcement of the second one, and they're like, we're so glad that they're like people have followed us and like love this series so much. And it's like, there's just been one game, hasn't there been? Yeah. And then they were like, there's a Netflix series, there's like a manga, there's like all this stuff. I was like, whoa. Dragon's Dogma is like way bigger than I thought it was. It's not just weird, like the hashtagonist losing his mind on Twitter every day about it. So, you know, I don't know. I played the first one a little bit. It's like a little exciting. This is the one that you can crawl all over everything, right?
Yes, yeah. And you have your little squire that you can just sort of like throw around and really.
Oh yeah, and you can borrow like squires from other people. Yeah,
yeah.
You know, your pawns.
Whatever.
Yeah. You know, I don't think this is a Morbius situation. Like, I don't think Capcom, you know, is dumb enough to be like, nah, we'll make a game that 5 people are going to buy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe, and who knows, maybe it's a way bigger franchise in like Japan, and maybe even Europe than it is over here. But it seems like everybody that I know that has played Dragon Dogma doesn't really have anything bad to say about it. And then, you know, there are the ravenous fans that want it just as bad as like, you know, Mother 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there were some decent reviews for it, but it did not light the world on fire at all. Again, I think it's just one of those things that just picked up steam from like meme games. It's like people just kept talking about Dragon's Dogma and made it a thing
it was also a game that existed during a time where Capcom was at like one of its absolute lowest points. Like Capcom wasn't really anything at the time.
Yeah.
It's like even like Monster Hunter was still at super niche, you know, handheld kind of like weird, like America hasn't picked up on it yet kind of thing. And Mega Man was as good as dead. Resident Evil was in its weird stage. It was like Resident Evil 6 and stuff. Like it hadn't had its shot in the arm yet. Street Fighter was still struggling. Like Street Fighter 4 was like a hit out the gate, but then they just kind of wasted its goodwill with the people real fast. But yeah, I don't know. It was a good Capcom game in a time where you weren't really getting a lot of good Capcom games. So
yeah, and it sold really well in Japan. Like it was pretty.
You don't get an anime and a manga series without having at least some
right.
Something
again. Sales weren't massive in the West, but they were definitely pretty big in Japan. Well, hey, that's it for gaming news. I did want to click around real quick on something. Let's go to the pre on E3 magic and see where the standings are. Okay, so here are our predictions right here. So I said Final Fantasy VII Part 2 would be announced. It has been. Now, granted, we were waiting, I think, till the end of the summer for some of these announcements because there really wasn't anything typically scheduled. So we're like, let's wait till Gamescom, and when Gamescom is done, that'll be the one. So
yeah. Oh no,
Final Fantasy VII Part 2 announced.
Hey, look at you get.
Ding, got that. Xbox have an unannounced first party game launch for this year. The Pentiment.
Yeah.
We're getting that Zelda collection. Could still happen.
To be determined.
TBD.
Nintendo game on Xbox Game Pass. Probably not going to happen.
Probably not going to happen.
None of our
0%. Yeah.
Silent
0%
JJ.
No Silent Hill. Hey.
What happened?
We don't know what the Kojima thing is.
Yeah. Silent
Hill.
I
can tell you it won't be Silent Hill.
However, again, the rumors of a late summer PlayStation event, so maybe Silent Hill will be announced there. So you still have a chance.
Yeah.
Perfect Dark being shown.
Yeah,
probably not going to happen.
No,
even
it wasn't
for
at the
games come up.
That's because it's happening. They've announced it, but clearly not coming out in the next 12 months. So,
Marvel versus Capcom or some Marvel fighting game.
That one was really my Hail Mary more than
that was more.
Yeah,
it should have been flipped.
Yeah.
Now there may be a chance we see a James Bond game at Gamescom. I wouldn't be surprised because of obviously Amazon picking up James Bond. They're throwing money behind the IP, so maybe we'll see something. But so far you got 0 points.
Yeah, and we're at the tail end. Like Hitman 3 is sort of being sunsetted at this point, so it's like it's done. It's a done game. So
Taylor said we'll see one of Kojima's projects.
I guess that's. I mean, we didn't see it.
That's half a point.
That's half a point. Half a point. We TBD. Will not get any major update. So TBD.
Yeah, we'll see.
Slightly bigger Elder Scrolls 6 teaser.
That's probably not.
However, we did get a Fallout 5 announcement.
Yeah,
so
because
really
that was surprising.
They did mention Elder Scrolls 6. They at least mentioned it. So
they mentioned it. So not enough. Nothing bigger. And then a Darkstalkers game announced. So no, again,
I'm very sad that didn't happen.
There's still time for those Hail Marys, but
I don't think that, if it wasn't at the Capcom thing, it's not going to be. It's just
I don't think Capcom is going to be. I don't think Capcom right now is in the 2 fighting games at once time of their. I think they're all hands on deck on Street Fighter.
They have to be.
The Darkstalkers comes out on all consoles like tomorrow. I think that collection.
That could be
tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, does it run the collection tomorrow? Nice.
I think it's next week or this week.
Something like that.
However your calendar works. Sundays.
However your calendar works. But anyway, so 2 points for me so far.
Yeah.
JJ 0, Taylor with 0.5. Ish. Maybe I'll give you that 1. We'll see. But Sam, you didn't give us anything in.
No, I don't think I was there that week. No. But luckily,
really?
all of my predictions were written down, and I got all of them right. So I think
wow.
Yeah.
He said Redfall was going to show. No, just kidding. But I want to get into some of the games we've been. Actually, I'm not on that part. I'm curious your thoughts overall on sort of the not E3 portion of these last couple weeks. What was the stuff that you?
Devolver continues to be the best show in all of games.
Devolver.
Yeah. I was a big fan of the limited run one as well.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Fun stuff.
Of course, yeah.
That. The Xbox one was fun. There was just kind of a mix of everything. It wasn't like it was just like from big games to like Pentiment, like a game for like 6 people. But just give it.
Where did we see Scorn?
I think it was the Xbox one.
Was
that Xbox? Yeah, because it is a game. It's coming in Games Pass. Yeah. I mean, like you just see. Oh, there's a lot of shit that just shows up.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some complaints, at least on the internet, that I've seen of people, not liking the sort of disjointed, sort of, here's a showcase that's got 10 random games, here's a showcase that's got 30 random games and stuff like that. To me, and maybe it was because I just had to sit in an office all weekend while stuff was going on. I actually sort of liked the idea that I was like, okay, cool. That was another showcase. Now I've got like 2 hours to another one or like an hour to another one. So it gave me, it was basically like my whole weekend was like what I assume people that watch like a lot of baseball or football are into. And then, you're just plugged in on the couch with a beer and watching all day long. So I actually thought that was kind of cool. I do agree though, that like some of it is messy and doesn't make like a goddamn lick of sense. What showcase was it that was voiced over by Geralt? Like that one got a little like rambly and like like they stopped and like talked about certain games more than others, and then other videos were like 30 seconds long. It feels like when you have like, it's interesting when Sony brings out a group of indies, right? It's like, here's 5 indies and we're going to focus each one for like a minute. and we think these indies are special. That's why we put them on the showcase. And you're like, sweet.
Yeah.
And then you watch and like, this, like, the Wholesome Direct is a different thing, but you go and watch like another showcase, and it's like, here's 30 indie games. Like, how do you decide which ones like take precedent over the other ones? Like, it always felt, some of it felt weird where it was like, okay, we've spent 10 minutes with this developer talking about their game, but then this like more exciting to me game gets mentioned next, and they've got a 30-second trailer, and then we're on to something else. So it feels kind of weird that your attention doesn't seem to want to focus to these bigger tentpoles. And I totally agree that, when these showcases, there's multiple showcases and each one of them is showing 30 plus different indie games. It's kind of hard to choose like which indie games you're really looking for.
Yeah.
Like Wholesome Direct, kind of covers like a specific subset of genres.
Yeah.
So you're like, cool, I know what if these are the type of games that I like, I'm going to watch the Wholesome Direct. But then you might miss like a game that you do like that maybe didn't make the application deadline to be on that show.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I kind of like the Summer Games mess. Now, I would prefer if it was still like somebody still forced the hand of like a Nintendo or a Sony to sit there and actually like do a showcase like Xbox. But obviously that's not going to happen. And, God, Nintendo might wait until September to show like stuff for this fall. So who knows? But I overall liked it.
I think, I thought it was fine. The two things that got me were the stuff popping up like almost overnight. It's like, oh, hey, our big Square Enix, here's our big showcase is going to be in 2 days. Be ready. I'm like, I like to have stuff. I like to have enough time planned out. The one thing that was always nice about E3 is that you knew it was going to be this specific week. And you typically had those press conferences, the info for when they were going to be like a week or like a couple weeks in advance, right? Like they rarely came in with less than 2 to 3 weeks. And these all digital ones should be even easier to plan because it's just all canned content. You can record something and re-record it 50 times, and you record a lot of the voiceovers, and you can. I don't want to say you can throw it together in one day, but it's a lot less of an effort than filling a theater and trying to get that to happen. So, I miss the aspect of having everything sort of figured out ahead of time and having a schedule sheet in front of me before the week begins so I can plan accordingly. Because again, I was on vacation and stuff's popping up. I'm like, crap, I have to go cover another. Oh, great. Now there's going to be a Dragon's Dogma one. Now there's going to be a final. It's like, guys, just let me know ahead of time. Give me a couple weeks so I can plan my time out for coverage. So I don't make them a stupid Persona 5 mistake. That's one thing. The other aspect was, and I think I was talking about this in the Discord, that I was a little dissatisfied with the Xbox One. Content-wise, I thought it was fantastic. It was kind of some of the stuff was spoiled for me ahead of time, just the internet ramblings out there. But there was tons of great games and content. I think it was the format in that it was very quiet. You'd have a placard will come up, it would say world premiere, and then it would just play a video, and then it would say console exclusive, world premiere, video console exclusive, world premiere, video console exclusive. Then you have Phil Spencer come out and say something about Starfield, and then it'll go, world premiere. It was very unenergetic. And I think I would have loved, like, the one thing that I did like about in-person conferences and stuff that can be kind of a little bit better planned is that there's a lot more energy in it. And while there was awesome content, there just didn't seem to be a ton of energy in the delivery of the Xbox One. Again, I think it's more of just a format thing than the actual.
You just missed the crowd.
I missed the crowd, but I think it was them
at the same time, like Phil Spencer probably, like, I doubt he's taken a lot of improv classes and so it's really hard to try to do a stage performance solo in front of a camera with nobody around. So but when you have somebody like Jeff Keighley, who is a TV guy,
he does great.
He's designed to be that guy. His whole career is built around being that guy. So he knows how to play to the cameras. He knows how to vamp with who's ever up there when things aren't going right, even when you're trying to do something that's, working with people that aren't used to interacting without being able to feed off an audience that's going on about stuff. It's hard. It's hard to do that stuff like live without an audience. So the Xbox One is them having to have some sort of conceit. Like Phil isn't going to be able to go out there and play off a crowd. So we have to just have it be as short and sweet as possible. We just need to get it out. We just need to get it out there. Have Phil maybe say something that will be headline worthy, and get it out there. It's like you can't recreate an E3 press event on a soundstage. Jeff Keighley does the absolute best he can of doing that because he's a TV producer. Like he's a content producer. His job is to create an incredible stage with guests and everything, and it's just hard. So I feel sympathetic in that because this is something they have to do. Like it's not an option to really to do like an Xbox press event for the to get the headlines out there to promote, like because especially right now, like the whole messaging of this one for the Xbox was we do have games coming out, and we have games coming out in short order. All of these are out within a year, with maybe not the Kojima one, but who knows? I mean, it was at the show, but at the end of the day, it's like we have to get positive messaging out because it's starting a downward trend. So of negative messaging, especially since everything's been delayed. Starfield's been delayed. Everything's just pushing and pushing and pushing. So their hand was forced, and they can't have a live show because there's no E3. And they probably could have a live show, but what's the point? Because there's nothing else going on around it. So
they did have
kudos
the Xbox Fan Fest stuff.
Yeah.
They had Xbox Fan Fest events around the country, around the US and Canada, which I thought was really cool. You get people in a theater and kind of watch the show. But again, I think it just didn't feel like last year's Xbox event. I felt was better in that they took a little bit of time in between. It was a little bit longer, I think, too. They took a little bit of time in between. They would interview someone. They mentioned some stuff, and they got people really excited about the content. They cut a lot of that out, and I felt like it was sort of lacking.
I hear what you're saying, Dally. Like,
you're a TV guy, so maybe
of course, with this, this video stuff, as you said, like you can re-record it, you can get the messaging straight. Like, at times it can feel stiff. It feels like the marketing guy is right there in the corner, like holding up the whiteboard, being like, say this, mention this, do all this stuff, and you sort of lose like that human element, right? Like, there's no one, no one's coming out with a dancing panda like at the Ubisoft like event for Dance. But at the same time, you're also losing that guy who gets to reveal his game that has Mario in it and is crying because he's so excited to be there. And you kind of lose that edge of like, oh my God, like I'm going to stand on stage. There's 100 people, there's hundreds of people in this audience. There's thousands, if not millions of people watching at home. And I'm like here to talk about this thing that's been like my passion for like the last like 4 months, as opposed to, hi, I'm Steve from, Cool Games. And like, we're really excited to show you this. And it's like, well, how many times did you record that to make sure you hit the marketing points and made sure that like, what Microsoft wanted you to talk about is talked about and stuff like that. And that again, like kind of like goes back to why, like, I think Devolver does like the best showcase every year, because like, you lose that like human element, but what you get is this like just the sure insane goofiness that is like this industry and E3, but in like, it in some aspects it's making fun of it, but it's making fun of it in the same way of like, we enjoy this joke just as much as you do. And we want to, we want you to be just as excited about us talking about the games as you are to like play the games and stuff like that.
Like, because and these people are hiring people to be like, their goal is to create, like with Microsoft. Remember, Microsoft was in a much better place last year in terms of like why the reason why their show was so good, because Forza Horizon 5 was an absolute massive hit that had just come out. and they had their holiday mass of Halo Infinite sort of drop coming, so they had a little more and video games were starting to recuperate a little bit because the pandemic was sort of, everything was reopening and stuff. But like, you get Devolver who are hiring people. Like, maybe is that where you like, is that what Microsoft needs? Do we need to have them hire people? Because like, you have Devolver doing like Suda 51's there for really no reason other than the joke. And then you have like Limited Run where they have the Mega 64 guys out there making their own FMV game to announce all of the stuff they have coming out.
And I don't think like I said, I don't think you need to make it any quirky thing. Those are great and they're memorable. And I know that's not Microsoft's brand, but
used to be.
I just would have I would have loved to see just a little bit less stiff. I think that would have less stiff, a little bit more energetic. And again, I know Phil is great on podcasts. He's great at interviews. I would have loved to see someone talking to Phil. You know, this is a case where I would have had Keighley come in and pay Keighley money to do this show, because I think he could have. There's just a little bit of a human touch that can go a long way, especially in this really weird year where stuff wasn't like, it's kind of all over the place.
We're in a spot too where like,
it's a small thing, but it was
like G4 is back kind of, and they have some interesting personalities. Like if you had like Austin,
quick aside that I also heard through some grapevines that there is staff reductions at G4 already.
Oh, there definitely is. I already saw a few folks. Yeah.
But like you know, you have a really like powerful personality like Austin Creed or even the completionist Gerard out there that could probably help sort of these, like, if you can't have live people, have some big overpowering personalities step in and help have something for Phil to play off of as he's out there, instead of developers that don't get the emotional state of having a crowd cheer for their little quirky indie game. Or, you know, instead you have WWE's Xavier Woods, like, hooting and hollering up there.
Well, but that turns into a double-edged sword, too, because if you're trying to put personalities in there, well, then you're putting your corporate messaging behind personalities. And then you always run the risk of, this personality is a complete scumbag, or a week after, you're seen as promoting them as well as your product. Yeah. So even in the long run, you're paying for the stuff that they get involved in. And that's not to say that Microsoft hasn't worked with, sort of these outside commentators and these outside third-party Twitch streamers and affiliates and stuff like that. I think, if you start going down the entertainment route, you can either land on the Devolver side of things, or you land on the opposite side of it, where, you're not very good at delivering your message at all, and your show was so boring that people tuned out, or, they decided that they didn't care about any of the trailers because of the shit show that you're running. So, it's obviously, as we've said before, there are, people that are paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this as a living and come up with the safest strategies for their corporation to make things work.
On the flip side, I think Capcom needed somebody to tell them, maybe don't spoil the game that you're trying to move the new and improved expansion for. I mean, I realize you need to sell the concept of the expansion pack that you're about to sell, and it's hard to advertise that expansion pack without spoiling the end of Village, but I feel like there needed to be a middle ground somewhere.
Before we move on, Taylor, your impressions of this this overall, the last week, 2, whatever this has been.
We kind of already touched a lot of the points, so I'm not going to rehash too many. But organization was just low. I think it's weird that Keighley kind of.
Is that you, JJ, playing?
What? No. Playing what?
Someone's playing. That would be Sam.
Oh no! I heard a Game Boy fire up. I don't
know. It's Taylor. No wonder his.
No, it's definitely not. But
someone's hacked. It's Zach. He's hacked into the show.
Yeah. I wish I had my Game Boy in here.
I think it's weird to put stuff under a banner because a lot of that stuff streamed, even though it wasn't necessarily produced by him, but it was streamed under a banner of Summer Games Fest, but was so disorganized. So
I agree.
You gotta take the bad with the good. And so I think that if in turn it was all under one banner and organized as such, that could be a huge improvement that I think would benefit overall. And also, I don't know what you got to do, but rope in Sony, rope in Ubi, rope in EA, and bring back the big dogs, because that hype feeds off of itself.
It'll be interesting to see what next year is, because this will make year 3 of no E3, basically, year 3.
They're supposedly back next year and in person, but
they were supposedly back this year too. But...
And then Keely's supposedly doing an in-person portion, bigger in-person portion. He had a little bit in person this year, but bigger in-person portion next year. It's gonna be real interesting what next year's. But I mean,
we're gonna see so many people stick to online only and have it be organized through the I mean, through the organization, because a lot of those places don't need booths.
Nintendo been doing it for a decade now. It's
if Nintendo don't need no booth, then plenty of other people don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of going to booths, we've been playing games at our houses. So I want to get into what games we've been playing. I want to start with Taylor and Sam, and then we'll kind of finish with Jay. For me, I've been on vacation, still playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm still loving it. It's I'm surprised at how good of an RPG it is. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's great. I'm going to apply to this and get to Xenoblade 3. Let's move on to Sam. So what have you been playing, Sam?
Honestly, not a lot. Checked out a bunch of games during the Steam Next Fest.
Oh, nice.
I really only want to talk about maybe one or two of them.
Sure.
But I will say that one of my big rules to myself going into this was I would not play any demos that did not work on the Steam Deck. I know that is a sort of weird thing because they're just demos. They're not full versions of the game. But I can tell you I only had one issue. And it wasn't even that the game didn't work on Steam Deck. It's just that it was a mouse and keyboard game, and there were too many buttons to map to the buttons that I needed. So that game got thrown in the trash. Sorry. But I did check out a bunch of things. I wish that going forward, if they're doing this again next year, if your game has a demo on Steam Next Fest, I don't care which program that you have found yourself on, put a little icon that tells me that your demo is available. I understand that trailer is going to be up forever, and that you on YouTube don't want to say demo available next week, and somebody 3 years from now starts flipping out because it's no longer on Steam. I get that. Just put an icon. Tell the producers of the show to put the icon there. Please do it. Number one game that I wanted to check out, and I wanted to mention because it was mentioned in our chat, was Cult of the Lamb.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes. Everybody's favorite cute game turns murder, good time, and cults. Who doesn't like to be a cult leader? Demo played great on the Steam Deck. Basically,
did you have some FPS issues when you played on Steam Deck?
Yeah, it seemed like every once in a while it would skip a frame or two. It wasn't a huge deal, but it was noticeable, but it wasn't very frequent, so it didn't bother me. But again, I chalk it up with it's a demo. There's no guarantee that even the full game will run on Steam Deck. But the demo ran perfectly fine. I think it also defaulted to 1920 by 1080. So it was one of those games you kind of had to go in and change settings because it didn't automatically recognize Steam Deck. But if you haven't seen anything on this game other than the fact that it's very cute, is that it's basically a roguelike, but also a city builder, kind of.
Yeah.
And
Demon
it's very
Animal Crossing.
I would compare it. Well, so it's interesting because it seems like it's gonna have like sort of structured dungeons as opposed to more like randomly generated. And I might be wrong in that. And it's like the floors themselves might be random, but the like sort of map of the of the progression is more locked and defined. But it's very interesting. Like the game, like the demo certainly had like, it was very structured and there wasn't a lot to do. You basically ran through like a dungeon and a half. And it like didn't really give you much of the city building stuff to kind of mess around with. But it seems like, you'll be running this city that are running this sort of like small village, which is like your cult headquarters, and you'll be recruiting cultists from different events and stealing them from other cults, maybe. And then also like gaining items in that sort of city building world. So kind of like I don't really want to compare it to Stardew Valley, but that's sort of like you're getting resources to craft into bigger items, which then probably leads you to more resources and bigger items. And you're building different things for your cultists. There was an item that you got that was like, it seems like you can give gifts to your cultists that affect them in some way. And one of the items I picked up was like, oh, your cultist lives for 15% longer. And I was like, they die? So it seems like you'll have to be dealing with some of that stuff too. If you're into like, if you're vaguely into witchcraft and stuff like that, there seems to be some tarot nonsense going on in there too. I mean, I thought it was very fun. It seems like the combat might be a little rigid, at least in the demo. Hopefully it seems like you'll be getting sort of randomized weapons and randomized spells as you walk into dungeons. Probably some aspect that you can lock those more into place as you play along. So I don't know if the combat will necessarily feel great the whole time, because it was kind of getting a little with it by the end. It's not like the demo was very difficult either. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see the sort of whole package in that. But I did really enjoy the time that I spent with it. And yeah, I mean, it looks adorable. That art style is like very nice and very clean. Very thick outlines. Love that in the animated game. So yeah, looks great. If you're, I think it's one of those where if Hades is a game that you experimented with and that got you into those roguelikes, not so much the story end of it, but the like gameplay loop of it. I think this might be like the next, like, if you're still kind of dipping your toes in that and you're too afraid to go to something like Rogue Legacy, this might be like where you sort of experiment more with that. The other game that I don't really want to talk too much about, because I think we've covered it before, is Curse to Golf. Yeah, Curse to Golf, is basically a sort of 2D, like old school. Well, it's not even like old school, because even those were kind of like 3D-ish. It's a side-scrolling golf game. So it's almost more like one of those like sort of mobile games that you can download and it's like golf with your friends and stuff.
Endless golf.
Yes, yeah. Like those sort of like, you're not so much like dragging it and trying to release it like Angry Birds. It is sort of still the, like, you're setting your arc, you're setting your power, you're sort of, there's only 3 clubs. At least there was only 3 clubs in the demo, but it looked like maybe you could get different clubs as you played on. And then it also has a card system, which is sort of like, like, I guess you could call them special abilities. And some of them are more focused on, it gives you more turns. So instead of like normal golf where you're just playing to like try to get the lowest score, you have a certain amount of shots that you have to beat the hole in. So, some of the cards are like, oh, well, now you get 2 bonus shots, but then other ones are like, you can activate it and before your shot and during your shot, if you want your ball to just drop straight to the ground at any moment, you can. So there's sort of different abilities and different aspects of how you can sort of stylize it. And these courses, at least the ones in the demo, seem to suggest that there would be more than one way to effectively get through the course. Of course, which will, inspire the sort of like lowest number runs for those sort of like high score chasers. And then also I see this game as being like probably pretty good for speedrunners too. They're probably going to come up with some interesting strategies of how to do best in this game. And I don't know, it feels, I think Golf Story did a really good job on the Switch. of like giving you another way of playing golf that was like more interesting than just here's 12 holes, or I'm sorry, 12 holes, 18 holes. Yeah, I'm a real sports guy. So, you know, I'm looking forward to that. I know we talked about it a little bit when you guys were at PAX East. I did make it through the demo, which I think was a question mark for Dally while he was at PAX East.
Yeah.
And they did give you a nice little driving range to sort of mess around with stuff, you know, to kind of experiment with hitting and stuff like that afterwards. So, I mean, I'm all in. That game looks fun. Played great on the Steam Deck. I think it's also coming to Switch and stuff like that too. So, should be a fun little indie game. Yeah, kind of one that like, you know, it has been kind of getting the news traffic and stuff like that. So I don't want to spend too much time on it.
Cool.
And then the other one I sort of experimented with, but I think maybe somebody else will talk about it, is Potion Permit. So yeah, if anybody played that, I will hand the reins over to you.
That's me. I did it.
Yeah,
he did it. But
yeah, I put a decent amount of time into Potion Permit actually. That one was pretty well fleshed out. And I'm pulling up my my Steam library so that I can see how much time I truly wasted on it. Is it going to show? Nope, it's not. Very cool. I'm glad that I talked about it.
Good job, man.
I think I probably spent like close to 10 hours on that demo, to be quite honest. I spent 10 hours on more than one of the Steam Next Fest demos.
Cool.
Actually.
Oh, that's great.
Because I put 10 hours into the Dome Keeper demo.
Love that PAX, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm pretty sure they made it harder from the PAX build.
They did make tweaks, yeah.
I think it felt way harder than the one at PAX.
Is it because I beat it at PAX?
I think they saw you beat it and they realized that it was way too easy.
If Dolly can beat this, it definitely is way too easy.
But yeah, no. Potion Permit is that. You know, speaking of Stardew feeling games, that's Potion Permit. You're in a very Stardew feeling town with kind of, you know, characters that all have their little daily schedules, and you know, you've got a section of forest where you can go out and harvest resources so that you can make potions, and you're settling into this town to try and become.
I love the visual style, by the way. This is really cool.
It looks great. Some of the stuff is neat on. I mean, you know, it's only a demo, so there's only so much that you're going to see. But yeah, no, I mean, it's got the loop. It feels good. You know, people get sick and they don't trust you because you come from the capital and they're on their little wayward isle. But you know, you make your potions and you keep people safe, and you make friends and get to know people, and you have a dog that you can whistle for and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one will probably be quite good. Trying to think if there's another one on that I spent any time on for Steam Next Fest.
It ends tomorrow, by the way. I think Steam Next Fest ends tomorrow.
Fuck.
So make your plays the next 24 hours.
Do they pull the demos down?
They do. They do pull the demos down.
I think some people choose to keep them up, but yeah, overall, I think, you know, the sort of bigger ones you might see disappear.
Yeah.
Part of that is because it's very similar to what the Summer Game Fest demo thing is going to do with Xbox in the next couple weeks here, which is they throw these demos out there for people not only to experience the game, but also get feedback. And so you can't keep this demo out there.
A bunch of them are rough demos. They are here is where we're at in developing this game.
Yep.
And so a bunch of them do not benefit for keeping these demos for posterity available online. So I get that.
But saves generally don't carry over from these demos either.
Yeah, exactly. These are true demo.
Yep.
Then the last thing actually was Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. So I never actually played Dragon's Dogma before, even though I was talking about how kind of like familiar we were.
You and 99.9% of the people who want Dragon's Dogma 2 have not played Dragon's
Dogma. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't give a shit about Dragon's Dogma 2.
Same. I own it.
It's the hard drive headline of Earthbound fan excited to play game for first time. Yeah,
exactly. Except in this case, like, I mean, you know what took for me to buy Dragon's Dogma, for it to be sub $5. Was what really did it. Which I'm sure it has been before, but I just didn't really care. And I still, but I will say, with how old that game is originally, it does a lot of really cool, impressive things for the time, and in some cases, even still from other modern games, it doesn't necessarily look as good as those games while doing it. But the pawn system is neat and pretty original, and the climbing and grabbing system is kind of cool. And yeah, I mean, I probably played like 2 hours of it so far, but it's also brutal. Like, if you go in the wrong zone in Dragon's Dogma, you will just get absolutely fucked up. You get a bunch of quests really early on, and you're supposed to be able, I think, to go to your quest list and then say, okay, where on my map do I go? So I did that to the T. And this is like the second quest in the game. The dragon shows up, and you're trying to get people medicine, and you have to go collect some flowers to do it. Now, what you're supposed to do is just wait until nightfall, and then you can literally pick the flower in the town that you're in. I went to the quest and then said, okay, show me on the map where I go for this flower. And it's like, it took me, all right, past this. You leave your town, you go past a garrison, you turn left at the fork, and you go up a hill, kill some wolves, and then there's bandits. There's one fucking bandit that's got like a helmet and a sword and a shield, literally two shots you, and you can't, almost unkillable. It's just you don't play many of those kinds of games anymore.
Sure.
But anyway, that's it.
Cool.
That's what I've been doing.
Cool. Well, let's go over to JJ. JJ, it's all you, man. You are the story of the century.
Oh, am I? That's unfortunate. I have 2 review codes. We're gonna do them both in this one thing. Usually we try to keep it to one, but
you got to rephrase it. You have a bunch of review codes. We're only gonna cover a couple of them here.
Yeah. Because I'm reviewing. Well, I'm done with Shredder's Revenge, like in terms of what I need to talk about it for review. But I'm doing a review, so I'm not going to put it here. But just. I guess spoilers. Hey, that game fucking whips ass.
With Shell, but not that game. What game are you going to talk about right now?
Well, let's start with the one that's going to take the least amount of time to talk about, and not for a bad reason, but the Rift Tracks game. I got that code a few weeks ago, and I'm sure everyone here is at least vaguely familiar with Rift Tracks, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's Mystery Science Theater. After Mystery Science Theater went under, after Sci-Fi Channel canceled them, the crew had to find new jobs. You had Joel and his crew did Cinematic Titanic, and Mike and Kevin and his crew all went and did. There was something else between Rift Tracks and this that I can't remember. But Rift Tracks ended up becoming the thing for them, and it is a massively successful website where it is just doing the Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing, but on a completely digital scale now. It's like you can download the commentary for big budget movies and just sync it up to the movie. They have ones where you can just buy them with jokes already, sort of like the commentary already integrated into it, and they do a lot of shorts, like old shorts and things. So this is sort of an extension of that. If we played What the Dub on the anniversary edition of SideQuesting this year, and this is relatively the same game, just from the same developers with the RiffTrax branding and crew and writing team involved. And you kind of got two play modes. You have pick the jokes and write the jokes.
Okay.
So I held off a little bit because, like, when you first start playing the game, I mean, there's a lot of content in there, but you start to see duplicates a little bit if you play it more than once or a few times. But they updated it, so now there's probably twice as much, maybe a little more than twice as much what it launched with. So it's pretty good to know that they're supporting it. So you see right there, write a riff. It's basically like anything from You Don't Know Jack, where you're trying to basically make your friends laugh. Yeah. You're the one writing the joke, and you have like a robot voice reading it over the movie clip. They're going to show you a movie clip.
It does a pretty good job, actually.
Yeah. You have a movie clip. You write your joke, and when the movie clip plays, the robot voice will plays back. The movie clip will include it into the scene. They also have pick the joke, where you have a list of jokes written, usually pulled out from other movies and stuff that will play during the scene. So it's pre-written jokes by the writing team of RiffTrax, and so when that clip plays, it's whoever said the joke. So it'll be Mike, Evan, or
it's the actual audio clip from them.
An actual audio clip. Yeah, it's an actual audio clip, because it's, like I said, it's pulled from a different from one of the other movies, and it's got it's got most of the great classics. Like, people that watch RiffTrax stuff knows things like the short film Shake Hands with Danger, Roller Gator as seen there, Plan 9 from Outer Space, and a lot of other stuff. And it's got full integration for Twitch and everything, cross-play. It's up to, I think it's 6 or 7 people plus 12 audience members.
What's really kind of cool from what you're explaining is that, we would probably do the write the riff, my family and I, because we love to write just stupid things. But the RiffTrax aspect really pulls from the pick the riff, because it's the actual audio clips. So if you're a fan of the show, you may find even more excitement out of the game from that standpoint.
Because when we did What the Dub, here, it was most of the comedy came from just trying to make each other laugh. We were doing our best to just try to get a rise out of each other. But I think the pick the riff is definitely more sort of just pick it up and play. We've got a few minutes at home or whatever. Let's just do. But the write the riff is the party game aspect of it. Pick the riff is the Cards Against Humanity version of it, or Apples to Apples if you're a little less edgy. And the write the riff is we're here, we're throwing up, we've got everyone here. Let's just sit down and play this game for an hour or something. And play it. It's a great game. It's $10. It's a steal for that. It's something that's, and it's, it's low profile, so it can always be on whatever device you put it on. So there's no reason to ever delete it, because it's 180 megabytes or whatever, it's nothing. So it's for $10, and if you can get enough people together, it does have a single player aspect. You can actually play it single player, which is absolutely broken and pointless, because it's just you making jokes for yourself.
Just hearing how they
I feel like it's the saddest possible way to play that.
I played a round single player, and there is nothing satisfying about it. It's fun. It's fun to see the clips and stuff, and just playing with in the sandbox of RiffTrax a little bit, especially if you're doing the pick the riff, writing the one. There's no reason. But the pick the riff one, I guess I can see the sort of like I said, playing in the sandbox of RiffTrax, playing with
maybe
their
trying to see what works. Maybe
I mean, I can vaguely see it, but it's completely just I can just watch a RiffTrax. The shorts are 99 cents a piece usually, or something,
exactly.
But like I said,
cool.
Yeah, great. It's a great game. So good job to them. I hope they keep updating it because they just throw in more movies, throw in more clips and stuff. Like it'd be fun to see more movies get added to it as time goes, which I hope. But they haven't really said anything about that. So
What's
that's
the next
that.
game?
A Card Shark, Devolver game. It's I got a code for I've been playing it on the Switch.
Cool hand-drawn aesthetic.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier when Pentiment was being talked about, you can see a lot of the sort of aesthetically very similar. It's a period piece, side-scrolling adventure game, I guess is what I would put it as. And it's at first like it was one of those things where it's like I was really into it. And then I started like, it seems like a little one-trick pony. But then I got like super back into it once the like the story actually, you wouldn't think looking at this, but like the story is actually compelling, and I was invested to see how this story wraps up. You start off the game as sort of like you're just a young guy that's a mute that works in this bar it's like in Victorian, Paris. And you're sort of through some stuff going on, you're brought into this sort of world of gambling, except you're cheaters. Like you're being taught how to cheat. Not only in the game, but kind of in real life, because all the stuff they're showing you is like actual sort of cheating methods.
Yeah, when I saw the trailer during the Devolver showcase and all the shit, they kind of gave you little glimpses of this stuff, and between the mirrors, between posting an associate, like having an in with somebody that's working there, which like all I don't know, it really got me greased up.
Yeah, it's so like this, like it starts off real simple. Like the first thing that they teach you is like, okay, man, what I need you to do is pour them some wine, and there's like a little mini game to like gently pour the wine, and you're gonna look over and look at their cards. What I need you to do is tell me what their highest card is. So if they've got like their highest card is a king of clubs, you have signals. So when you wipe down the table, it's like, okay, if you do it in a circle, it's this suit. If you do it counterclockwise, it's this suit. Up and down is this suit. Left and right is this suit. And so you're sitting there and like you're pouring their wine and you don't want to spill it, and you're kind of glancing at what their cards are, and then like you wipe the table down and then he wins the money. So you're all in on the grift. This isn't really a spoiler. The game starts off with this, and it's teaching you sort of how things are going to play out in this game. The guy that you're playing against kind of recognizes that there's a grift, and it ends up with the person that like it is your caretaker in this place gets killed, and so you end up going with the guy in the pink coat here that you see, and you sort of become his like right hand man, and you're just kind of traveling the countryside, working your way up the ladder of society, grifting your way through through gambling. And it's teaching you how to they show you how to play 3-card Monte, and teach you like if you were to really play 3-card Monte, you can really like use the stuff that they're showing you in here, like how to palm the cards and stuff. And you see marking cards here, and you see there's a little bar at the bottom. That's the suspicion meter. So this person is becoming slightly more suspicious. The longer you're doing something, the more suspicious they get. And if it gets to the very end, it's because it's an adventure game. Any number of things can happen. You can get killed. You can get kicked out of the establishment. You can lose everything. You can get ostracized from society. That kind of stuff. So you have to play careful while also like remembering all of these like card tricks that you've learned throughout the game, because you really do have to memorize these things at a time. Like you memorize the patterns that you have to put out, or how to shuffle, how to deal, how to cut the deck. And on top of all of this, the story is genuinely fascinating. There's like a mystery to be solved in here. Like, and I got to the point where I kept like I said, at a point I kind of was like, I don't know if this is doing it for me, but I want to know where it ends. And as you get further into the game, the stakes get higher, the tricks get trickier. Some of the stuff that you've already learned gets harder. And it's just like, it pays off. Like, the game actually has a really good ending. It's only like 5 hours. So it's not a long game either. But it's got a very satisfying conclusion to it. Like, I didn't feel like it was all not worth it at all. It's a gorgeous game. Cool. It looks great. It plays great. It's a really cool concept. I like this concept where you're not really the one playing cards most of the time. Which, you know, you would think in a game, like a gambling game like this, you would play. There are times where you have to, because you have to show, like, you've got, like.
I love how fast the thumb is just like.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you have to be speedy, or else they're going to get, like, super suspicious. So you're a very qualified, card grifter. So card shark. I mean, it's right in the title. But yeah, it's. Sweet. I highly, highly, highly recommend this game to just check it out. Taylor, if just looking at this did it for you, then I think you'll enjoy it through and through.
Yeah, well, also you said 5 hours and story driven. I'm like, we're hitting all the points.
Yeah,
checking all the boxes.
Yeah.
Just a question in terms of like how it's actually played. Like, we're watching gameplay if you're listening to audio. And, you know, it seems like what you're doing here, at least, is very, like, predetermined, right? Like, you're going into this game and this is the steps that you're going to have to take.
Yeah.
Is there, like, situations where, like, you know, we've taught you these, like, let's say 5 things, and now you're going to have to use all 5 or some combination of these 5 to make this game work in your favor? Is there any of that, or is it like, you know, you're going to, you know, oh, this is a fancy dinner party that we're playing this poker game at, and we're going to have to pull these, like, certain moves?
It's definitely the latter. You don't really get to free form it too much. You can't just, like, all of a sudden decide you're going to do, like, card jiggering or anything like that, or like card marking or something. Like, going into it, you know how you're going to grift this side of society, this part of society. So, it's not as free form as like, okay, I know these 6 things, which 3 things are going to get me through this game most successfully. Gotcha. Yeah. Again, it's definitely mostly narrative driven. And like, even the controls are very simple things. Like, I've been playing on the Switch, so it's a lot of like just button, like QTEs. It's a lot of QTEs. Rotating the stick around and everything. On PC, it's just mostly mouse work. It's not like you're pushing any buttons or something. It's like jiggle the mouse up and down, left and right, circles and stuff. But it's definitely more of a narrative game than it is like a card game in any way, shape, or form. Like
an actual poker game. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was real curious what it was going to be like.
Okay. Yeah, because your goal is to rarely be the winner. Your goal is to just help who you're partnering with be the winner. Gotcha. So yeah, and there obviously are exceptions to the rule sometimes, but by and large, that's how the gameplay flow goes. It's great. Like I said, 5 hours, perfect length for this game. It didn't outstay its welcome at all. So there we go.
Card trick. All right, and with that, that's all we've been playing. I'm sure we got other things. I know Zach's been playing a couple things that we'll get to with him next week, or next time, because we'll probably be recording again later this week as we get back on schedule. With that said, you can find us sidequesting.com, SideQuesting TV on Twitch, SideQuesting on YouTube. Taylor, we can find you at Taylor Bliss.
I dare you.
At _double_J. I like that he's pointing at nothing.
Yeah, well, for me, I'm pointing directly at the double J. I'm pointing directly at it.
And it's totally not pointing
anywhere. Not on our screens, bud.
Because I'm mirrored. I learned the trick. I'm mirrored. So it's like, if you wanted it to, I could do that, but I'm not pointing at it on my screen.
Oh, see, you're definitely pointing it on our screen.
Yeah.
And then Sam is over. I almost went the wrong way because you had me screwed up. Sam, right there. Sam. Hey, kitty cat.
Out on the track, baby.
Back on the track.
Find me on the track, baby.
Are you ready? Are you ready for Hot Wheels? Are you ready for that?
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention that. That's gonna rip. Actually,
buddy.
I am now that all summer events are done and concluded. I am getting into that sim racing lifestyle going forward for the summer. So.
Hit that big orange track in the sky, baby.
Big orange track in the sky where you'll find us on the next episode. And also, by the way, Discord. Join our Discord. We had a bunch of folks commenting during the stream, so that was always cool. Find us on the track and in the Discord. We'll have a lot of fun. With that said, we'll see you on the next episode of the Side Quest. Bye.